Welcome to the Brian Murray Show, a real estate show, New Jersey style. Today's discussion point will be the weather and the market. As we're here in the winter, the beginning of the winter, the weather it fluctuates a bit. Last weekend, believe it or not, we had a 70-degree day. The parks were filled with kids. People were out. Some people were looking at real estate. It's a lot easier to get around. Next weekend, there's supposed to be a snowstorm. Snowstorms are bad for real estate. Nobody wants to go out. People coming from out of town, people coming from Manhattan, the suburbs, they're not coming. They just won't come. It's hard to park. It's hard to get around. They can always postpone it a week or 2 weeks or a month. So the weather really has a big impact on whether homes are being sold, homes are being shown, homes are being put under contract. It's a great opportunity for buyers to get out there. If I'm a buyer and I'm looking in January and I'm willing to brave the elements, I'm rooting for snowstorm after snowstorm. I want the city to be shut down until March. I want to be the only person out there. I want to be the only offer. I want the sellers to feel the pain of not having showings because people just won't come out during the snow. So the weather is a big factor. If it's frigid cold, people will still come out. Unless it's just below zero with a wind chill, most people will still brave the cold. They will not brave the snow and the rain, so-so. And I can tell you in the urban environments such as Hoboken and Jersey City, once there's a significant amount of snow on the ground, what ends up really happening is the snow needs a place to go because they don't plow the streets here in Hoboken and Jersey City the way they should. Their whole approach is let it melt. So what happens is that all the parking spots are hard. People don't move their cars. The extra spots at the end of the street where you could throw a car for 5 minutes and run in, they don't exist because they're filled with snow. The cars are covered, so they're staying in their spots. Parking becomes much of a premium. It's hard to get around. It's hard to show property when there's snow on the ground. When there's snow that's been not plowed on the ground, it really limits your ability to show property. And that's another factor. And you can see it in the cyclicality of the numbers that December, January, February contracts are down because of the weather, and then they start to kick up again March, April, May. So don't discount the weather. If you're a seller, understand that you better be hoping for sun and warm. And if you're a buyer and you can brave it, root for the snowstorm. This is today's discussion point. Today's hot topic is seller motivation. A lot of people ask me, hey Brian, what's the seller need to sell this home? As an agent who represents the seller, I have a fiduciary responsibility to the seller not to disclose their motivation. Was it a job transfer? Did they just pick up and move? Was it a divorce? Whatever it might be, did they lose their job? What's their motivation? The fact is that seller motivation is something that's private to the seller, but you can sort of discern their motivation on a number of factors. One is, how is it priced? If the home is overpriced, it usually means that their motivation is not high. The fact that they have a home that sits on the market for a long time without a price reduction tells you that their motivation might not be high, or that they need a certain number, or they just can't sell the home. So their motivation to take your offer, your lowball offer, your market priced offer might not just be there. They don't have that motivation. Every seller is not motivated until they're motivated. And you won't know until you put in an offer and you find out. Trying to find out beforehand is just not going to happen. I'll give you a great example. Tom Brady has a home in Massachusetts. He put it on the market about 6 months before he knew that he really might be moving. It sat, and it sat, and it sat. And I got to be honest with you, I thought it was overpriced, but what do I know? It's a $40 million house in Massachusetts, not my market. So what happens? The end of the season comes. During the middle of the season, he finds a house in Greenwich. He moves to that, or buys that house. They're renovating it, blah, blah, blah. When the season ends, albeit a month shorter than I would have liked, but when the season ends, the very next day, there's a 15% price reduction on the house. The very next day. So now he's more motivated. In fact, 2 weeks after that, he moved to the house in Greenwich. So you're not motivated until you're motivated if you're a seller. Even Tom Brady, who can afford to carry 2 homes, who can afford to carry 4 homes if he wants, and maybe he does, is not motivated until he's really motivated. So when someone asks about seller motivation, understand there's a lot that goes into it. You're probably not going to get a whole lot from the listing agent or the seller unless they're trying to indicate to you, hey, here's really the price that we're going to take to get this sold. This is today's hot topic. The good, the bad, the ugly. The good. Sometimes we actually get 70-degree days in the winter, even 50 plus, even 40 plus days in the winter with no snow, no precipitation, no snow, no sleet on the ground. It's all good for selling real estate. We've had a few of them so far, a lot of them. So the market has really started to pick up. Usually doesn't happen until after President's Day, but this year, right out of the gate, and that's the good, that we're really getting some nice weather early. Let's hope that it stays. The spring market came early, and the spring market just continues on. The bad. We're in the season for lost gloves and lost hats. If I could match a glove to a missing glove, I would be not selling real estate. I'd be a billionaire with lost gloves. Maybe even some lost hats too. But, you know, whether you're looking at a property and you leave them there, one falls out of your pocket in the elevator, one falls out of your pocket, getting in the car, lost gloves, lost hats, everywhere. The glove manufacturer should make those little tags that beep so that just like Find My iPhone should be Find My Glove. That is a free $1 billion idea I'm giving you just for watching the Brian Murray Show. Next week, I might have another $1 billion idea for you. And then the ugly. I actually know people who get sunburned in the wintertime. Sunburned in the wintertime. So as much as we like it warm and melting the snow and the feel of the warmth, some people actually get burned. Sunscreen, sunglasses, not just for the summer, for the winter too. It's got to be very, very embarrassing to be out in the winter and have to tell everybody you went to Florida or you went to Aruba and you got a sunburn. And it wasn't, yeah, I'm just so fair-skinned that even in January or February or March, I've gotten a sunburn. Now, I've happened to have gotten one myself at the beginning of April, so I understand what that's like. But be aware, you're definitely going to need sunglasses and sunscreen, and don't lose your hats or gloves. This week's inspiration. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? This has been the Brian Murray Show. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed any of it, got any kind of information from it, please follow me on social media, on my Instagram. Go to my website, themurraypropertygroup.com, for all of my episodes. Please send me some feedback. And if you have any questions, I'll certainly answer them for you. And if there's anything that you disagreed with, please reach out and let me know, and I'll show you why you're wrong.